It might just be the four of us. Oh yeah, we're going to record this meeting. I hope everyone's okay with that. How are you, Georgia? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. I'm
Good,
fighting
good.
off a bit of a cold at the moment,
Oh
so
no.
I think I'm on the tail end of it. But if I sound a little different to
Good.
normal, that's why.
Yeah, I don't want to catch it on the weekend.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, good. Good, yeah. Well, we had quite a lot of acceptances, didn't we, Jennifer?
Sorry?
We had quite a lot of acceptances, so I'll wait 2 more minutes,
Yeah,
and otherwise we'll go through it anyway.
I sent out the reminder.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well, indeed. So Jim, obviously you and I know each other. Jennifer's my VA, and Georgia is my goddaughter.
Well, it's like family. It's a
It
family
is,
get
isn't it?
together.
It
Yeah.
is.
Oh, and it's nice to meet you all.
No, nice to meet you too. I learned everything around business and project management from Sean. So,
Oh,
Oh,
thank
um,
you.
you've had an excellent instructor, coach,
absolutely,
mentor, all the rest of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, she's a,
absolutely.
she's a kick-ass program manager now. So
Oh, I better be careful what I say.
okay. Well, I'm gonna it's 5 past 12. I'm gonna start and sort of thing, even though it's a small audience, we'll put out the recording and we'll put this up onto the membership site that I will talk about when we go onto it. So okay, if I'm going to share my screen, please let me know. Oh, help if I actually click share. Oh, got somebody else coming in now. Christine, hi. Welcome. We're only just starting as it seems to have taken a little while to get people to come into the call. Okay, so for the next 40 minutes, I'm going to talk through my career, PMO career, who I am, and sort of any lessons and learned and insights that I've had over a 30-year plus career now. I don't want to think about it. So hang on, bear with me. Okay, so the agenda for the meeting is, hi Christine, hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Just getting my
Good,
head
good.
around Zoom.
I know. I'm so used to Teams and it sort of Zoom's different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through what is a PMO, and then talk through PMO as a career, the various roles you can have in career, and then any lessons learned, insights that I've gleaned, as I said, over a 30-year plus career, and then obviously as I've set up myself as a business, as a coach, then how to move forward in your career using my good self. Okay, so for about me, oh, hang on, bear with me. Oh, a common name. I know Colin as well. Yeah. Okay. So about me, as I said, got 30 years experience of project and program management and PMO, delivering change into a lot of the household names. Um, Jim, you and I know each other from Lloyd's, sort of thing, and Colin, who's just joined, known from Nat. So in various household names have helped at portfolio program and project management level. Okay. Okay, some examples of my experience. I've set up strategic enterprise offices. I've set up transformation offices. I have ran large program management offices, and I've also been a delivery director and run the whole delivery enterprises for large organisations. And also as part of those roles, I have coached over 100 project management and professionals through the course of those years. Okay, there's my qualifications and industry experience. I'm not going to go through that slide, but just to let you know that I'm kosher and on the level. Okay, so I think we had this question last time round. What is a PMO? I'd be interested if you can use your comment, put things into the comments, or sort of answer. PMO is different things to different people. And some people just see it as an admin function. Some see it as the policeman. Some see it as, basically you've got to do it as they say. But actually, a good PMO, if it's done right, is your strategic, sort of heart of your business in terms of trying to help you move forward to deliver the change that business needs. So I'm using the PMO Global Institute definition because I'm a certified instructor with the PMO Global Institute. So PMO is a group consists of an internal and external entities, which defines, maintains, and ensures standards of project management to deliver strategic initiatives. However, and I think this is where, 72% of PMOs have been called into the question by the leadership, and the question is why. And I think that harks back to the understanding of what a PMO is and what a PMO can do for an organization. As I said before, some people see it just as support, others see it as other things. So it's a question of, if you're going in to set up a PMO, it's understanding the needs of that organization and understand how it can work in harness with the culture of that organization. So, in my view, critical role of a PMO is it needs to be able to align any projects that organization needs with any strategic goals. You need to be able to understand the resource requirements for change across the business and then be able to enhance that through resource management. It should also enable a standardized view and way of doing things for project management. And I'm not saying every project then has to do the same thing. I'm saying for this type of project, this is what you should be doing. I think one of the key lessons I come on to later is that one size does not fit all, but it's understanding what framework you can put into place for your organization. And that means you can run waterfall type projects with agile type projects across the piece or within that one framework. PMO should improve your governance and your decision making. I see the PMO as the people who are delivering the right information at the right time to help make the right decisions. So you need to have an understanding of where you're going to get that information from, how you're going to put it, and then how do each of those various initiatives work through that decision making process. It goes without saying that we should also facilitate knowledge sharing so that you don't have silos in your organisation all doing things differently. It should be, this is the best practice we've got across the organisation. This is how you should do things. Stakeholder engagement, absolutely. And when we come on to a couple of slides down the line, you cannot, even a PMO cannot move without good stakeholder management and interaction, because part of the reason why a lot of PMOs not fail, but are being questioned is because you do not have the people at the top level understanding what a PMO can do. So therefore, if you've got a PMO sponsor, or if you've got somebody on your exec board that can actually support and support you going forward, that is key. And that is then making sure that your key stakeholders understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the reasons for behind it. Okay. And then lastly, it goes without saying, we need to ensure that projects are delivering the value that they've said they do. I think we've all worked in organizations where great business cases start off with, but as you go through, suddenly the benefits that you've identified are falling down, and then suddenly the costs are going up. So it's understanding, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that doesn't happen? But also, actually, if the trend is that way, what's our early warning systems in place, and then what we can do about it. Okay. So again, talking through about a PMO, and how we can choose the right PMO structure. This is critical. No PMO looks the same. Different organizations will have different types of PMO and different structures. So you need to understand that organizational's needs and goals in order to put that PMO together. And those of us who've been doing this for a long time, sort of a part of our skill set is actually working with those companies to understand the structure that is needed for that particular organization. Again, you need to identify types of projects and programs, and then how they all fit together to deliver the overall portfolio of work for that company. Again, we talk about there can be some stuff that we can done very quickly and agilely and move forward very quickly. Other things, especially infrastructure, things that might take a bit longer and will need a different PMO and project management structure in place. Again, nothing works unless you understand the organizational culture and how you're going to put things into that organization. So that links back to the top point there is you've got to work hand in hand with a culture. There isn't much point putting in short, rapid development into an organization where you're very, very change resistant. You have to work through and understand the problems, what are the problems we're going to solve, and then how are we going to do them in order to put this particular type of development into place. You also need to understand the level of the project management maturity. I guess we've all worked in places where we've got really good project managers, really good program managers, and others that are not so. And and I've worked in places where we've done, depending on the size of the project or the program, the complexity, you have gold, silver, and bronze type project managers, and you're not going to put a bronze project manager on your top rated complex key program of work, but then you'll also then have, if you've got that structure into place, you can then have your training plans for your project managers. So if you're a bronze, what you need to do to get to a silver to get up to a gold. Again, depending on the size of the organization, you might not be able to do that, but you do need to understand your level of your PM's maturity in order to how you put together your overall PMO. And again, back on a PMO, you need to consider your PMO services, scope and services. It might very well be, depending on the size, you can only offer a certain amount of services. You can't offer the be all and end all to everybody if you've only got 2 or 3 people within the organization. You need to put the basics into place and say, actually, we will support X, Y, and Z at the moment, as if and when we grow, or as our development is such, we can then support A, B, and C as well as X, Y, and Z. And we also then need to look at the structure of PMOs, because you can have different roles, different ways of working, different things depending again on the overall needs of that organization. You can have PMO managers, PMO analysts, PMO coordinators, all working in different levels depending on what it is that PMO is servicing. So careers in PMO. Change, according to Gartner, and I think this, I should put this, I think it's 2020, this research came out, change has become the new constant, and companies are moving from an operations-based organization into project-based organizations. And so as a result of that, people who have got, and I call them P3M and P3O skills, so when I say P, it could be project, program, or portfolio level of skills, will be in greater demand in the future than they currently are today. And again, I read somewhere else that actually, it's going up by about 25% per year in terms of the demand for these type of skill sets. And so within the PMO, as with everything else, there's a range of roles going from your entry level, positions up to your senior leadership. And each of those will require a different set of unique skills and expertise. So you have your typical molds in a PMO. So as I talked about earlier, getting somebody at the exec level who can be your sponsor is key, and they're the people who can unlock any problems that you have at that level. So you need a PMO sponsor who will be your cheerleader at that C-suite level. Depending on the size of the organization, you might want a PMO director as well, who will then run the day-to-day elements of that, of the PMO, and manage all the teams within it. Again, depending on the size, PMO managers will either manage the group of people, will either work alongside program managers to deliver a portfolio of work or a large program of work, or will work within that PMO to manage certain capabilities within the PMO. You then can have PMO analysts, which are the ones who take all the data that is being produced by the projects and the programs and work out what does that mean at a project level, a program level, portfolio level, and actually what is that data telling us? Are we on track? Are we doing things right? Where do we need to intervene? What's our risk profile looking like? What's our financial profile looking like? Are we overspending, underspending? So those are the key people who will manage that data for you and give you the insights into what that data is telling you. And then you can also have a coordinator, which is, can work alongside a PMO manager delivering a certain program of work, who will do the I wouldn't call them menial tasks, but the more, sort of, it's things like managing your risk log, your issue logs, ensuring your change controls are up to date and pulling your reports together. So as you can see, there are lots of different roles, and there is a career path through up into the PMO director and up to the sponsorship level. And then if you've got a centre of excellence as well as part of your PMO, you can have PMO trainers and coaches who will deliver ways of changing into that organization, and will also train your project managers up as well. So that's sort of what's all in a sort of a typical PMO and what we are all about. And then I think actually I'm going to now talk about some of my lessons learned and what I've done wrong in the past, because actually we learn more from what we've done wrong than we do right, sort of thing. So just going to give you some insights and lessons learned about from what I've understood. So for me, the key thing I've learned is communicate. PMOs do not exist in a vacuum. They do not exist on their own, sort of in the little corner just doing things. No matter what you do, you need to communicate. So you need to communicate the aims of your PMO, your vision, your statement, your charter, what you're trying to do within programs and project management. You need to communicate to people where you think, actually, looking at the data come from here, I think X, Y, and Z. One of my key lessons I learned is when I was a contractor for about 12 years, and I moved back into becoming a permanent member at NATS. And it was quite a large, mature PMO at NATS, with about eight PMO managers in. So we had a whole load of improvements that we were going to be rolling out, as part of the tooling and understanding what we're trying to do. And then, having been a contractor and working on sort of program level PMOs, where what I said I went, no, we can just roll out. We were changing the way the report was being done. I said, no, just roll it out. The PMs will understand. And then I did get a phone call from the delivery director saying, excuse me, why didn't you run this past me first, sort of thing. And he had a point. So actually, because I thought, well, I'm used to pushing things out, people will do as I say. But actually, if you want to get things done correctly, you need to understand, again, the people who are going to be impacted and how you are going to work with them. So put my hand up and said, yep, totally wrong there. What we will do is we will create a communication plan, sort of thing, and we will keep that up to date, and we will keep that on our website, and with a ticker tape saying what's coming next, so people can understand what's coming down the line. And then we'll do roll out to your weekly or monthly meetings, giving people a heads up of everything that change was coming along, and that worked fine. But for me, then that was that communication, understanding who your end users were and how you would communicate any change to them. Also, ask questions, especially if you're in, and I've said I've moved around different industries. You need to understand the context into which you're putting that change into, because for something that's worked in another industry might not work particularly in that particular industry because of X, Y, and Z. And again, another example is when I moved into NATS, coming from a financial services, mainly financial services industries, where you can test small pieces of change, put it in, it goes live. Within NATS, especially if you're looking at something into the airspace or something that actually has an impact on people's lives, you can't do that. You can't just put a change in and put it into live. You then have to go understand the way that it's tested. You put it into a small piece of airspace at midnight, sort of thing, so that if something does go wrong, the impact is minor, and then you build up the trust in that particular piece of that change before you roll it out wholesale. So for me, it's asking questions and understanding the context into which you are putting that change into. And what I found is people are really open, and actually willing to help and understand and talk about the business. So, sort of things. Again, just ask those questions. Next one I've got is be aware of your audience. If you're reporting up to the exec, they don't want chapter and verse of one small little problem going on. That's not material, sort of thing. It's actually understanding what is it my audience wants to hear. I've got X amount of time in order to sit in front of them to deliver an update. What are those key things I need to do? And that can be at project level, at your working group level, all the way up to your exec. So it's actually tailoring and understanding the key things that your audience want to hear, and then what you want from that audience. So what is my ask of you to help me unblock a certain situation? What I don't want, especially when I've been a director, I do not want to read chapter and verse when it's all green. All I want to know is it's great, sort of thing. Put that to one side. I need to understand what are the things that I need to put my time and effort into to help unblock. I think I've talked about stakeholder management before, but it is key. It is absolute key to keep your key stakeholders on site. If there's something going wrong, that's fine, sort of thing. Just talk and say, these are my problems. But as I said before, don't just say this is my problem. Say I've got solutions X, Y, and Z, sort of thing, pros and cons of each one. This is what I think we should be doing. What do you think? And then between the two of you or group of people, you can start to identify go forward. Do not keep anyone out of the loop. It's people much prefer you to communicate than not. And for them, they don't want to hear about a problem in a board meeting or something like that. If you do have a key problem, you probably need to go to that person beforehand to warm them up. Yeah, I called this discipline. So I'm going back to the policeman a little bit, but discipline and baseline control. Do not underestimate. If you can get into that routine, into that discipline of every week we do X, Y, and Z, and there's a reason for why we do that. That we're asking for this, and also getting your baseline control under control, because actually how can you report on where you are again if you don't have a baseline against which to compare against? And then what I mean by baseline control is if you have a change in scope or you have a change of absolutely understood that actually we're now not comparing it with A, we're comparing it with B because we've got an agreed and governed way. Excuse me, we've gone through governance. It's now been agreed. That is our current baseline that we're working from. And Jim and I said we used to work at Lloyd's when that was a weekly reporting, and that was because of the size and the complexity of what was going on. Everybody had to do their bit in order for us to bring it all up into the top level, so for people to understand